It literally will not stop a single boat, declares one guest. They're reusing the dinghies. It's outrageous. This heated exchange reveals an explosive challenge to the migration deal, confronting claims of empty photo ops and unexpected Franco-British collaboration. Catch every charged moment exclusively on GB News. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated.
Keir Starmer is facing criticism, stinging criticism, over what's being branded a surrender deal with France.
The Prime Minister promising a new era of cooperation after he signed his migration deal with President Macron. The Tories, however, have come out saying the agreement's all a load of rubbish because it's about photo opportunities. There's no substance to it, they're saying. And some are warning that it literally will not stop a single boat.
Well, we can reveal here in GB News that more than 1,200 migrants have crossed since that deal was signed on Thursday. At least 300 more attempting the crossing yesterday. The PM's heading back, though, accusing the Conservatives of insulting the French and insisting this will stop illegal migration in its tracks. OK, here's Mike Parry with this. Has it stopped you in your tracks? Mike, I really feel embarrassed even asking you the question. I've never seen anything as weak, as shoddy, as designed as a hugging between Macron and Starmer. I just don't believe it'll do any good.
Well, in 50 years of working in this profession, I've never felt so embarrassed to be British, to be honest, and I've been around the world and met world leaders. And it was almost as if Starmer thought the king of Europe has arrived. Do you know what I mean? I mean, he's only Macron. He's only president of France. France is a failing country. It's got lots of the problems we've got economically, with their own migrant problem, with geopolitical problems with other countries. And yet he turns up in Downing Street, and Keir Starmer, who's supposed to be the dignified Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a mighty country, we are still a mighty country, was like a little boy grovelling at his feet. You know what I mean? I just couldn't get it. When Macron swans into Britain, he was arrogant, he was bumptious, he decided he'd lecture us on why Brexit was such a terrible mistake, despite the fact that more than half of the United Kingdom population voted for it. And that, of course, has been a big problem for him for the last 8 years. But the way Starmer didn't stand up for us or stand up for our country was pathetic. And you're absolutely right. This won't stop one single migrant coming to this country. If anything, if you read into the responses from the continent, it might even increase the flow, because it opens up yet another channel for people to be able to get here with negligible risk of being taken away again. What I'd like to see, here's a new idea, is that when those migrants are coming over in those little boats, I wish there was a huge boat of our own, a huge liner, almost like a sort of huge ferry, which is parked in Dover, which has written on the side, migrant return boat, so that they would know that if they come to this country and get off and stop on British soil, they'll get shown round the corner, back onto the migrant return boat and taken back to France. But is there any clip last week on this very channel, GB News, where some other mystery boat suddenly turned up with the latest batch of migrants coming over here to pick up the dinghy and take it back to France?
Yeah.
We knew that they were always taking back the life vests. They're now taking the dinghies back to be reused. I mean, it is such a racket.
Listen, I thought my old age was getting in the way, and I picked that up wrongly. And I was watching that news report and I said, no, that couldn't have been right. So the French picked up the used lifeboats. Yeah. And I'm thinking, well, so a week ago they were sticking knives in one. So I'm thinking, who is of any use to these dinghies except more migrants? Why on earth would they be reusing them?
Yeah, well, they're reusing them because the smugglers, the gang, I mean, they smash the gangs. It's such nonsense. Smashing the gangs mean you're smashing a huge international network stretching from South America through the Mediterranean to this country. They're very well organised. They're filthy rich. They make more money than the drugs trade. You're never going to smash those gangs. But it seems to me that there is some compliance in France. We know this already because the gendarmes stand on the beach and wave bye-bye to the migrants as they leave. There's clearly some compliance compliance now, where the boats and the life jackets are being returned, and it's outrageous.
They don't wave bye-bye at all. Au revoir.
Sorry?
They don't wave bye-bye, they say au revoir.
But isn't it interesting, you think, that the Prime Minister, when asked about this and asked about how good this deal is, simply turns round to people and says, you mustn't insult the French?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, look, I don't want to get historic and sound like a little Englander, but 80 years ago, our troops actually stormed the beaches of France to return freedom to France, OK? So I don't think we're insulting the French historically, and I don't think we're insulting the French now when they've made it absolutely clear that what's going on is our punishment for Brexit. I mean, for him to come here and suddenly say, of course, you're all so foolish to have voted for Brexit, insulting half the country, more than half the country. Well, I just think it's outrageous. And we know, ever since Brexit, the French have decided to punish us by sending migrants here and little petty things like having to stamp our passports and all that to make life more difficult for us to go to the continent.
Just finally and briefly, if you can, Mike, Keir Starmer's got 4 years of his administration left, and we're tied into that. We can't be challenged, and we can't have a general election unless it's some crazy reason. He's not going to win that election if it was being held next week. He wouldn't win it in 4 years' time. Is this what's going to be his Armageddon? Will this finish him?
Well, look, the political scene's very interesting at the moment. In the last week, we've just been told that Jeremy Corbyn is now deciding to get active on the far left of politics. We've already got Nigel Farage on the far, well, not the far right, for me, on the right of politics with more Thatcherite policies. So he's got a terrible problem. But he's got such a problem on his backbenches that they seem to me to be so suicidal. I've read political commentators who know more about it than me that say this government could fall between now and the 4-year deadline for the next election because those backbenchers simply don't know what they're doing and might just crash the government. I hope so. I hope so, because I dread to think what this country is going to be like in 4 years. You made the comment earlier, Eamon, about your friend in the pub yesterday, ruining pubs. They're ruining pubs all over the country. A pub a day is closing down now because Rachel Reeves has simply crashed the economy, and they're picking on pubs because they're an easy target.